folks don't wonder where we... Okay, we are connected. That was fast. Nice. Woo! We are on. Alright then, yes, that seems to be most everybody. Excellent.
Oh.
Except Connie's not quite here yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, how much acclaim would it be to get a favor with the new Admiral?
The new Admiral. Oh, you mean, Stoker?
Yes.
Let's see.
Connie had to restart the laptop, and of course now it picks the time to do the updates.
That's fine. That's fine. We got administrative stuff to do anyway, so that's cool. We're doing some of it now. So let's see.
That's two of us with computer problems.
Yes.
It's going to be one of those days.
I'm just gonna have like, hey, I got favors with.
You got favors and
Admiral.
favors. Right, so because currently Hopkins is in Starfleet and you're looking to at least gain favor with an Admiral that's in Starfleet, that will cost you 2. You have got 3 acclaim, so you can spend 2 of it to gain favor with Admiral Stoker.
Yes.
If that's what you want to do, then that's what we're going to do.
I'll do the same, and then if anyone needs a spare acclaim, because I have 3, you can have a commendation. So whoever needs an acclaim, you can have it.
Yeah, who needs a extra acclaim?
Yes.
And we give a claim out?
Yes, actually, one of the things with acclaim is that you can commend another, and therefore you can spend one of your acclaim to grant someone else that one acclaim.
Oh, okay.
So if you ever find yourself having not spent all of your acclaim, and you think someone else is deserving of some of your acclaim, then you can hand it over.
It's not in his crate.
Never thought I'd have to say acclaim so many times in a sentence, but there we are.
Hopkins, Sot, do you need some acclaim? I've got one going.
Hey, you want some acclaim, Gov? Fell off the back of a lorry.
Well,
I got some cheap acclaim. Want some?
I'm good. I don't think Picard's a admiral at this point in time. Anyways, I think he's still a captain.
Correct.
Sorry,
Alright.
what was the Admiral's name again?
Stoker, as in Bram.
Stoker. Dropped it.
Well then, before
Totally,
we get...
I gotta also get Picard's a favor at some point.
You wouldn't be the first. I'm gonna angle us towards our intro video, so I'm gonna take us away from all the sounds music for a moment, just to play our intro video, and when we get back, we'll get back into doing the momentum and acclaim stuff, if there's any to do. So give me a couple of seconds, folks. We'll be back with you in due time. Okay, and with that done, welcome back to the adventures of the USS Combs and crew. As always, I'm MJ, the GM, otherwise known as Matt, and I will be your games master for this afternoon. And with me is the full complement of the crew of the Combs. Welcome, folks. Let's get things moving back in the direction we had before. So, Dave had been spending some acclaim and milestones on Tavish, switching some numbers about and changing disciplines and attributes and some focuses. So if folks have got any acclaim or momentum related stuff that they want to do too, now's the time to do it before we get stuck into things.
Matt,
Yo,
to get a favor with Wolf off
Wolf.
the Enterprise. That's only one acclaim, right?
At the moment, yes. Worf's still in Starfleet. If you want to spend your acclaim on that, you can spend your acclaim on that, absolutely.
Yeah, let's just get the last acclaim and I'm just gonna end up getting certain people from the Enterprise as well.
Slowly but surely, they will give me a promotion, and I will find myself on the flagship of the Federation. Alright, Commander Worf. Here we are then. Last acclaim spent. There's still that reprimand you've got to work off, but, you know, it's a work in progress. Aha!
What reprimand? Totally didn't get one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope, right there in the notes. I can bring it up again for people to see if you want. And there it is. Right there. Right there. Reprimands 1. So, yes, you've been given what to do in regards to getting around that, or getting over that reprimand.
Yeah. It's not her first time getting one. Probably won't be the last either.
Interestingly enough, Garrow also has one reprimand against his record.
Yep.
So in a similar fashion. So
Poor Garrow.
Both Garrow and Hopkins have had to attend attend little what's the word I'm looking for? Seminars on the side. Little refresher courses of what we do and don't do when in Starfleet.
Yeah, anger management courses for Hopkins don't work.
I don't picture Hopkins as being angry, though. She doesn't strike me as the angry type. Aggressive, sure. But I haven't seen a situation where Hopkins has lost her temper yet. It's been very much a case of over-enthusiasm, I think, would be how I classify it. We need to take a shuttle? Oh, I know! Let's take my special shuttle! Ooh, we've got other people like Ferengi coming at us for this thing. I know how to deal with Ferengi. Punch. So, yeah, enthusiasm, I think. Over-enthusiasm is maybe rather than temper.
Hey, the Ferengi had it coming.
I'm not saying they didn't.
Hostile negotiations.
Well, yes. But in the words of Philippa Giorgio, Starfleet doesn't fire first, so... But then she's dead, so... draw your own conclusions. Okay. Anybody got anything they want to do acclaims on momentum-wise, or can we go straight into science projects?
I've changed up one of my... I've put a new attack pattern in.
You have got a new attack pattern. Oh, good grief, what is it now? The Hopkins Ram. Okay.
Ramming speed.
Head down, head ridges up.
You know, the sad part is that if we ever get into combat and Hopkins can get into her ship, I may not have been dreaming about doing this a few times.
Liz, wake up. Liz, wake up. Liz, you're having a dream. Wake up, Liz. What were you doing? Oh, it was great. I was in a shuttle. I was shooting. I was blowing shit up. I've never been so happy.
Oh no! In my dreams, I have rammed the Gucha in like 3 different of the Romulan big ships.
Romulan warbird, no problem. I've got a hammer-headed light craft to deal with this. Okay.
Well, I spent 2 acclaim on Admiral Stoker, and I think I'll give a commendation to Tavish to try and wrangle her to help me later.
Oh, I see. So I've taken the acclaim off, Mark, but if you want to go to your character notes and since you seem to have you even date stamp everything you do, so if you want to
Yep.
go into your notes and make the amendment.
What have I got?
You got a bonus acclaim.
I've got 1 acclaim.
1 extra acclaim, apparently.
1 extra acclaim.
I have no idea what to do with that.
Yeah, it's all of 1 acclaim. So.
You know what? I'm going to take a favour with our Lieutenant Commander, Lian Zhang.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'm trying to get on her good side because I keep on calling her. You know, I keep on telling her that her con skills are awful. So this is Lily Tavish. This is Lily trying to be nice to her fellow crewmates.
Turn up to her quarters with a bottle of brandy, you know.
Yeah.
The brandy is called I'm Sorry.
Yeah. Quite right, yeah.
Hawkins totally does not blame her for the Halloween incident. Maybe not.
Nah, we all know who's really to blame for the Halloween incident. Well, me, obviously.
I think it's a ship's cat.
Well, yeah, you never know. The ship's cat hasn't been seen in some time, so yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And if you are insinuating a certain other ship's cat, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nevertheless,
or the other ship's captain.
Steady now.
I think I agree.
Yep, go on.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I agree. It's the other ship's captain.
Probably is. Came in one night when you weren't looking. Actually, it was probably Beta Shift. No one ever sees Beta Shift. They're this mythical thing. You know, you guys go to bed and Beta Shift take over, but do you ever see them? Coincidence?
No, I don't. I don't ever see them, ever.
Exactly. It's like there's only you guys on this ship. Anyway, before we get too meta with this, let's go.
Yeah, we don't even see the lower decks.
Yeah. There's no one on the lower decks, it's just you guys. Anyways, there were science projects ongoing if folks want to take this back up. There was Tavish's AI program that links into Tavish's brain. There was Flesk's bioscanner turned first aid drone. There was talk of Dr. Sott upgrading the EMH, and there's of course Hopkins, who was looking into becoming more Klingon and less human. Plenty to do. So, who wants to go first?
This is when I see if I can wrangle Tavish and her new AI programming specialism into helping my med drone.
Yes. So
I'll tell you what. I will not do my science project this time, and
so
I
that you
will
can help Flesk. Okay.
I can help Flesk. Yes.
All right then. Then we will do that. So you were looking at the current avenues of investigation that you had going were AI programming, replicator technology, medicine, and power systems. You were currently looking at AI programming, and were about more or less halfway down your current investigative avenue. So, is there anybody else that you would like to bring in for help on this? And that does actually now include, if I can take you quickly to deck 1, you now have a couple of extra crewmates. Because crew transfer requests were put through and have actually happened. So in engineering, we now have Ensign Carly Kenson, and I still can't say that without smiling.
I saw the name and I started laughing. So.
And Ensign Malcolm Eversion, or Everson, however you want to pronounce that. I say Eversion because that's what it looks like.
Can't view their character cards.
That's easily changeable. Give me a second. Let me just make sure they are actually in the... I got to look in the right place first. Because that's a good point. I got to put them in the list of supporting characters now, don't I? They are not in there just yet, so let's change that. They were found here. So where is Ensign Kenson, you bastards? Making me say it. See, I'm still chuckling now. I can't help it. Ah, dear me. Right, and we also had Ensign Eversion. I'm Ensign Malcolm Eversion, Starfleet. That's kind of what I think of when I hear his name. Right, so let's change them from copy to their actual names. Are they?
We need
Yes.
a new attack pattern. The aversion diversion.
Oh no.
Ah, you buggers. Right, let me make sure these guys are linked up so that you can get at them, and then I should bring in the actual ones that you guys can use. Let me also make sure that they are usable by yourselves. Ownership. Everybody owns that one, so let's bring in Malcolm Eversion. Barop. Where's Carly? There's Carly, and she now is owned by everybody. Let's bring Ensign Kenson back. Pop. Okay, the joke's slowly wearing off. No, it isn't. I'm just grinning again slowly. Ah, jeez. Okay. Serious business, this Star Trek. Oh, before I go any further, I almost forgot to do something. Plugs. Chris. Celerity. How are we doing with celerity?
Yep, should be another one due in the next couple of days. I've also got a couple of comic fan dubs that I've been doing, but I don't know how do I do you put a link on?
I put a link on
these
screen, so
things,
if you
or-
want to send me the link to what you're referring to, I will link it up. Link it up here so folks can have a look-see. So throw the link
Okey-dokey,
into Discord and I will...
I will try and find those then.
While we're
There are
waiting...
a couple of
Yep, go on.
Pokemon ones. Yeah.
Pokemon?
Yep.
You've been going up in the world, Christopher.
Well, yeah, it's fan dub, so it's. I've also got one for a little something called Genshin Impact. If anyone's ever played that.
Interesting.
Yep.
We are collecting crew
and-
members like Pokemon, as has been rightly pointed out there.
Indeed. Right, I will just throw that into the Discord.
Thank you.
Right. So whilst I'm doing that, yeah. If you want to move on to the next.
It has been added. Right, okay, so other Chris.
Hello. So same as usual for me, really. It's always at youtube.com/@theuttercrisp. I do a lot of like nostalgic game reviews of just games that I really like, basically. I did one for Katamari Damacy the other day. And now the Autumn Sale is right around the corner on Steam, so I'm going to try and get a video out in the next couple of days to coincide with that. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. If you're in the need for any sick deals on Steam, I got you covered.
There we go.
Okay. So, a couple of extra things. Let me open this. Arlecchino's Walking Bank. Okay. This is where you appear. And what else we got? Okay, these guys.
Basically, if you ever wanted to hear a drunk slow bro, then hey.
Alright, so this is what we're referring to here. Badop. Bus Arrow Studios. Okie dokes. Check it out, folks. The plug that I'm going to be putting forward is the Doctor Who book mega bundle from Humble Bundle. Once again, it is a Doctor Who bundle full of not only Doctor Who novels, but also some of the Doctor Who audio dramas from Big Finish Studios, which are really terrific. They've always been really high quality and awesome to listen to. In fact, one hesitates to say that Russell T Davies borrowed more than a few ideas for stories from Big Finish's stuff. But hey, for me to elude anything in that regard would be accurate. Shots fired, Russell. Come at me, bro. But as well as being novels and audio plays, this has also got Cubicle, I think it's Cubicle 7's. Yeah, Cubicle 7's Doctor Who Adventures in Time and Space role-playing game, including most of the various Doctor supplements. So, if you fancy giving to children in need, the Doctor Who Mega Bundle is pretty awesome. I've got it myself. I don't know when I'm going to get the time to read, listen, or play any of this, but you never know. So, there you are, the Doctor Who Mega Bundle up on Humble Bundle at the moment. So, back to Star Trekking across the universe. We are looking at trying to do Flask's little robot helper, his little hovering helper. And as I said, we've now got 2 extra crew members to maybe assist with any science or technology related whatevers. Ensign Malcolm Aversion has got the assistant talent, so that whenever he assists a task using science or medicine, he can re-roll the d20. So there's a re-roll chance there. Ensign Kenson, however... Ensign Kenson has got the ability to avoid injury, so there's that. She's pretty tough. So if things blow up in engineering near her, she's able to ward them off better. But nevertheless, yes, we have extra characters with which to play with now. So if Flask...
I thought she had the tough talent, just because of, you know, the amount of times Tavish is, you know, throwing a hyperspiner at her.
Well, she's only recently been promoted to this ship, bearing in mind. So, considering where she was previously, which was the archaeological expedition at, I want to say, I was going to say the wrong system. So you got her from the archaeological dig at Epsilon Alpha 3. So she's actually quite keen to be promoted to a starship, especially one of the top-of-the-line models like the Combs. Same goes for Ensign Aversion. He was kind of bored just basically cataloguing dirt. So he's actually finding it quite fun to now be on board an actual explorer starship. So both of your new recruits are very keen and eager to make themselves useful. So as far as being tough from having hyperspanners thrown at her, it's a relatively new occurrence for Ensign Kenson.
You'll get used to it.
I'll get used to it eventually. Nope, there we go.
Rest of the engineering have already.
But yes.
Yeah, might as well wrangle Ensign Aversion, but given Tavish has already done quite a lot of work on AI medicine, does that give us any additional benefit before we roll?
Well, she's now got the focus for it, so she can actually use AI programming focus, so...
Cool. Yeah, let's wrangle in Ensign Aversion.
Alright, so... Liz, do you mind being Ensign Aversion just to prove that we can actually use him? Thanking you. Can you open his character sheet for starters?
Mm-hmm.
Excellente. So from Ensign Aversion, we're probably going to want reason and science, more than likely. 1 dice, no focus, because he's got no focuses whatsoever. He's not even a supporting character at this point, but he might become one after this. So that was, no successes, but he can re-roll it as an assistant. So if you want him to re-roll it, you've got nothing to lose. He's got a free re-roll, so... That was the same roll again. Okay, never mind. Hey, you don't know until you try. So, I take it... Well, this is Flesk's baby, technically. But Tavish does have the focus. So, does Flesk want to hand over the lead, in this instance, to Tavish, because Tavish has the focus on AA programming?
Yeah, might as well. Leave it to the expert.
Okay, so in that case, it's Flesk with 1 dice and reason and science. AI programming, you got nothing much in there as far as focuses go, so Flesk is going to be doing this without focus, but nonetheless, he's still a smart cookie.
Ooh.
As displayed here by rolling the best result you possibly could. 2 successes, which leaves us with Tavish, who can roll 2 dice with a focus. With
what is it?
reason and, well, you can justify reason and engineering here because you're going to be doing the actual physical programming of the code. So you can do reason and engineering if you wish, instead of reason and science. See how we do. A 2 and a 3, really good results. So 6 successes in all. That was blimey. So yeah, you have now come storming along this particular research avenue, especially after Tavish started focusing her efforts on learning AI programming in her spare time. So spending less time in the holodeck doing shuttle racing, Tavish has instead been dedicating herself to doing AI programming, which has paid off in this instance. Flesk going by his natural smarts. So you have come quite a ways. You're in the final stages now. You're going to be setting up the final stages, the last test models, the last simulations to run. So far, so interesting. You've got working models already and done. You just now have to test them. So you're inches away from finalizing this particular avenue of investigation. Nice. Very well done. Other lines of investigation. Dr. Sott upgrading the EMH. Is he still putting that off, or and therefore is going to be helping Hopkins with her specific?
Yeah, I can help someone else for the time being.
Okay, okie dokie. In that case, Liz, we're getting onto Hopkins and her drive to eradicate the human genetics out of herself. Is that still something she wants to pursue? Okay. So previously, you had identified the avenues of genetic engineering, biology, and xenobiology as your avenues of investigation. You were currently looking into genetic engineering. So, if we check... Actually, if we go to sickbay, we do have Nurse Negrin Uro, who is... Let's fill the bridge here with our various crew members. Who is also on Dr. Sott's staff, medical staff. So, Nurse Uro... Ooh, it's a betazoid. An empathic betazoid. Well, there we are. Does not have genetic engineering as a focus. Okay. Neither does Dr. Sott, so it's gonna be basically all down to reason and medicine from everybody, and whoever wants to take the lead on it can. It makes sense for Dr. Sott to take the lead since he has the higher medicine. But you can draft in Nurse Uro to help if you really want to.
Yeah, let's get the nurse and possibly
like
even
that
the...
point.
Do you want the EMH in on the game as well? That would be
If
the
it
maximum
helps.
number of helpers.
if it helps.
If it helps. Let's just check the EMH. Yes, he's linked. Awesome source. So we've got Dr. Sott and his entire medical staff pretty much helping at this little incident. So,
Yeah,
let's see.
Dr. Stott would like to point out that he's going along with it, but don't put my name on it. Don't put his name on it.
Okay, so let's have. Well, Chrysopolis is going to be Dr. Sott. Let's have Connie. Do you fancy being the emergency medical hologram?
Indubitably.
Excellent. Just check that you can do it. This is going to be reason and medicine from the EMH, but with no focuses. Chris Bell, if you could be Nurse Uro, please, who's also giving us reason and medicine with no focus. Both of them only rolling 1 dice.
Hang on a minute. I'm just gonna try and.
No, don't worry, Chris. I'm only gonna blame the EMH.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
This is...
Hopkins as well is going to be giving us reason and medicine with no focuses.
Might take me a few minutes because my computer decided to.
Okay. Do you mind handing off the roll to somebody else then?
I don't mind because this. I don't know how long this is going to take.
Okay. Mark, how...
Is that shifting ticket anymore, Captain?
Mark, how do you fancy being Nurse Uro?
Sure.
Alright, so 1 dice from Nurse Uro, from the EMH, and from Commander Hopkins, 2 dice from Dr. Sott. If you all please.
Wee.
What was I rolling again? Sorry.
2 dice, reason
roll.
and medicine, please.
Thank you.
All very good rolls. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes in total. Lots and lots of successes.
What happens if we fail? Does she become fully human instead?
Well, wouldn't that be amusing? Commander, wake up. We have good news and bad news. The good news is we split your human half away from you. The bad news is you've literally been split in half. So you're actually
Another
shorter
crew
than you
member.
once were, but now there are 2 of you. Okay, so you've come a long ways down this genetic engineering thing, and like I've noted before, it's certainly possible, but as has been mentioned before, genetic engineering is very much against Federation law. The Klingons have tampered with genetically engineering themselves before, and it went horribly wrong for them. But, of course, that kind of technology has come a long way since the 23rd century, or whenever they did it, maybe even the 22nd. I think they tried it in the late 22nd, early 23rd. Anybody on chat can correct me on that if I am wrong. Nevertheless, it's certainly possible. It won't be easy because basically they'd be rewriting Hopkins's DNA. There's no telling for certain what kind of medical side effects there might be. And of course, there's the whole note of if you eradicate all of Hopkins's human side, then there's going to be a very painful period where Hopkins is going to be growing extra bones, growing extra organs even, and so the whole procedure is definitely possible, although currently illegal, and more than likely very, well, not exactly painful because that doesn't hold as much of a thing for even a half Klingon, but they're...
Inconvenient.
Yeah, it might have long-term effects, and it might take a bit of time to get over, and of course get used to. So it might have longer-lasting repercussions than just flicking a switch and hey, you're Klingon. Congratulations. So, again, possible, illegal, difficult. You're not quite done with the entire avenue of investigation, but a lot of the data and information that you've been gathering points to it being what I've pretty much stated outright just now. So, that's what you get from that. Therefore, this brings us about to, unless anybody has got anything else that they want to bring up, things that they were doing in between the last episode and the beginning of this one. to take the silence as not really, Matt. So the last episode was about 3 weeks ago, as far as the timeline of this current episode goes. So 3 weeks have elapsed since you came away from the archaeological dig site on Epsilon Alpha 3 and, of course, liberated that power source from the greedy clutches of both the Orions and the Ferengi. So some time has gone since then. Lieutenant Garrow said that he was putting out not exactly, but the equivalent of an APB on Damon Storbo, I think his name was. Let me check that. Hello, cat. Damon Storbo, yes indeed. And, of course, the Orions as well, but mostly Damon Storbo was the one being... Basically, look out for this guy, and do beware if you catch him loitering about space. So, you are still technically under the direct command of Admiral Bana Stoker, who assumed operational command of the Navis. I've done it again. Sorry, that's one threat gone from me. Of the Combs. I'll eventually learn to stop making this stupid mistake. Until then, I'm losing threat from my threat pool every time I make a mistake.
We enjoy when you make that mistake.
Yes, I imagine you do, so that's why you don't encourage me to stop. There's no outrage, there's just, yes, he's done it again. He's become his own worst enemy. So, pardon me, she has assumed operational control of the Combs' missions, rather than Admiral April Hebert, who is in overall control of all Starfleet officers on Narendra Station, which is where you are still currently operating out of. So, needless to say, Lieutenant Garrow and Commander Hopkins have had to spend the majority of their free time having to reacquaint themselves with Starfleet procedures of de-escalation and non-aggression. How they've taken to having to sit through those lectures all over again, which they haven't had to do since Starfleet Academy, is entirely up to Chris and Liz to decide. However,
Well, see, as it says, at least 1 hour.
At least
free
1
time?
hour of reacquainting yourself with Starfleet
She only does it for
procedures.
1 hour, and then the rest of the time she's just doing her own thing. She
But you
literally
do
spent
have
1 hour.
to do it. The
Yeah,
captain
just that's 1
takes
hour.
the captain takes special care to make sure that you log the time to do so, and there will be tests. There will be exams at the end of the day.
She'll pass them like she did in Starfleet.
Grudgingly.
Barely. Sorry, that was me.
I do solemnly swear to not punch a Ferengi in their face when I first meet them.
Gotta write that
Or if
out.
he's requested that, he ain't saying that part.
In any case. Excuse me a second. Okay, so we zip forward a couple of weeks after the previous mission and the various other, how should we say, routine missions that you've been doing since. And we are going to propel ourselves forward in time to being aboard the Combs during a red alert. The Combs is currently shaking as the gravitational forces being exerted on it are pulling the ship closer and closer to the subspace aperture that opened before it. The ship is in full reverse with its Chief Helm Officer, as well as Admiral Stoker, your Chief Science Officer Gurkow, and Lieutenant Tavish, Chief Engineer, all still dressed in their EVA suits. Lieutenant Flesk amongst them. Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang, your Helm Officer, is throwing as much of the ship's navigational power into avoiding going into the aperture. Engineering are given the engines all the power they can muster, but the ship is still being dragged into the aperture. Lieutenant Gurkow on sensors registers another ship on the other side of the aperture that your ship is on a collision course with. The captain utters a command for full reverse, all power to the engines to try and avoid the collision, but the amount of gravity being exerted by the aperture is too great, and as the combs is pulled into the epicenter of the aperture in space, it collides with the other ship, and there is a blinding flash. Whereupon we find ourselves on the bridge of the combs with everything pretty much as you expect. All normal, and you have only recently been given new orders. Admiral Stoker has spoken of her intent on actually conducting your next mission from the combs itself. And so, Admiral Stoker asks for the command crew of the combs to accompany her into the conference room. So Captain Sobek will go in the conference room if all the senior officers are able to take command of their characters and move them into the conference room, please.
And I can't.
Can't do that at the moment because the game's
No,
paused.
it's paused. I do beg your pardon. Mr. Bell, are you able to control your character again, Lieutenant Garrow?
Yep, there we go.
Groovy. Move him into the conference room if you can, please.
And sits down and does the Riker maneuver.
I'll put Admiral Stoker kind of by here so she's slightly out of the way. No cat. The Riker maneuver by the Commander Hopkins, okie dokie. The only response you get is a Vulcan eyebrow from Captain Sobek.
Just be lucky she pulled out her little knife.
Which she
And just
is not
looking
allowed
at
to
it.
have on herself anymore.
She hides it.
On a Starfleet tunic. Interesting. Nevertheless.
You don't underestimate Nick Klingon when it comes to her dagger.
In that case, can I get Hopkins to give me an insight and command check, please? Okay. The captain knows. He notices. You're not sure if he's happy about it, or upset about it, or what. It's difficult to read a Klingon. It's difficult to read a Vulcan. So,
Yeah,
It's
you're
easy
not
to
welcome
read a
that first
Klingon.
statement either.
it's difficult to read a Vulcan, but nonetheless, he's just when Hopkins thinks she's disguised it well enough, the captain looks down to the very noticeable bulge in the like the combat pocket of the uniform down on the leg. So it's like, you're fooling nobody. Nevertheless, Admiral Stoker is waiting for everybody to assemble in the conference room, at which point, when everybody is in, she changes the display screen behind her to show the image of a star system. And also pulls up a secondary window showing the the power source that you managed to obtain from Epsilon Alpha ruins. So, much to my disappointment, the mission to Epsilon Alpha proved to be, well, I suppose not fruitless, but not exactly what I was aiming for. The intention of that mission was to ascertain whether or not... The overall intention behind that mission was to ascertain whether or not the ruins on Epsilon Alpha had any link whatsoever to this alien civilization that we've been finding remnants of in the Shackleton Expanse and beyond. And after consulting with Dr. Taliaferro, head of civilian science on Narendra Station, we can confirm that the power source, though potent and clearly the result of an advanced scientific civilization, has no apparent link to the dead alien culture that we have been pursuing in the Expanse. In spite of this disappointment, my contacts have assured me that there should be definite indications of this very alien culture in the area, in the system that we will be going to next. And she indicates the system map behind her. We will be going to the Beta Niobe system. The Beta Niobe system currently lies in unaffiliated space. Over 100 years or so ago, it was actually part of the Federation, but 100 years or so ago, its star went supernova, and since then went on to become a neutron star, which has rendered the system inimical to humanoid life, and the majority of the planets in the system have been reduced to little more than rubble circulating the star. However, according to the records of the USS Enterprise, which was the ship sent by Starfleet to assist in the evacuation of the humanoid species who called the Beta Niobe system home, the Sarpeidons, as they were known, who lived on the third planet of the system, actually, scratch that, I think it was the fourth planet in the system, they ended up having a somewhat more novel means of saving themselves from extinction when they discovered that their star was about to go supernova. Rather than utilize any spacefaring technology they could have or did have access to, they utilized a rather novel approach by creating the means by which they could put themselves into their own planet's past in order to save themselves. I have reason to believe that the Sarpeidons may have come across this technology rather than invented themselves. My informational sources seem to indicate that our lost alien civilization could very well be the ones responsible for this technology, which is why we are proceeding towards the Beta Niobe system. Are there any questions at this point? Excellent. If there are no questions, then as soon as we get into the system, we're going to have to make ready to investigate the debris that we will find in the system. I want to see if we can locate any and all remnants of the fourth planet, so that we can make a detailed scan of whatever remains in order to ascertain whether or not there are any traces that could point us in the direction of this alien civilization that we have been tracking. Now, needless to say, as before, the exact outcome of this mission is going to be classified. We want to try and keep this information from whoever might be trying to either conduct their own mission in this regard, or might be trying to stymie our investigation into it. The exact nature of this conspiracy still remains unknown to me, which is still troubling to say the least. So, we are to be getting ready to be exploring the planetary debris of the Beta Niobe system. Needless to say, that's going to be rather tricky, but not impossible. I believe the Combs crew are up to this task. So, course should be set for the Beta Niobe system. As soon as we are within system, we are to start an investigation of the system to locate any and all archaeological traces. If there are no questions, then Captain Sobek, I will be using your captain's ready room as my office whilst I am here on the ship. The captain merely nods at this. Very well then. To your stations, and we'll see what we don't find with this particular venture. The Admiral excuses herself. Captain Sobek looks around, and when the Admiral has gone, he looks at you all and just says, I would value your opinions in this matter. Does anyone have any thoughts to do with our mission?
To be honest, I'm not too thrilled about trying to find a machine which could be used to go into the past.
Indeed. Temporal directives from Starfleet are somewhat clear in that meddling with the timeline should be avoided if and when at all possible, which does suggest the possibility that we should start reviewing temporal directives in order to make sure that everybody is ready and prepared should we meet any or encounter any signs from either the past or the future. I believe this would be a reasonable precaution to take. In the meantime, if no one else has any questions, concerns, or comments, then I would recommend an investigation into what records we do have regarding the Beta Niobe system and the mission undertaken by the crew of the Enterprise at this time.
And we should definitely do our own scanning from the ship. Lots and lots of scanning for momentum.
Yes, I agree with that. With our scanners, we should be able to scan way ahead of time.
Indeed. With our advanced scanning suite, we are in a lot more advantageous a position than a regular ship of the Starfleet line would otherwise be. Even science vessels. One hesitates to wonder if this was indeed why Admiral Stoker chose us in the first place. Nevertheless, we have been given our orders and therefore should carry them out. Very well, we will set our course for the Beta Niobe system. In the meantime, I will ask for Science and whoever else wishes to investigate the records pertaining to previous missions to Beta Niobe, in order that we are better prepared for what we might encounter when we get there. Everybody is dismissed. Return to your stations. Thank you for the picture of Doc Brown there on Discord. Excuse me. Okie dokie, so who would like to conduct an investigation into Starfleet records to see what is available for the Beta Niobe system?
I don't mind if, myself and my medical posse over here want to take the lead on that.
The posse.
I do want to see
Yeah, the
what
boys.
the Enterprise said about their evacuation.
Okie dokie.
Leverage your contacts in the Enterprise. Yeah, good idea.
Cool. Was there anything Dr. Sott specifically was looking for from a medical perspective?
No, I was just sort of going to tap into my science stat as well, really. So I do also have 5 science. It'd be kind of nice to use a bit of that.
Well, you do have cultural studies, so yeah. That could be something. Okay, cool. So, let me see. Hopkins is just going to be looking at the captain's and first officer's logs, I take it, just to see what they were up to at the time.
Well, looking at like their mission report.
Yeah. So that's probably going to be more like a control and command check from Hopkins. As far as SOT goes, that sounds more like a control and science check, with maybe the focus on cultural studies, so that you can see what you find. Was Gurkha going to do anything particular? Connie?
Oh, I'm muted.
Oh, you were muted, right. I did wonder why it was so quiet.
Yeah, I could. As the science officer, I can help do some research into, well, the archaeological bits of it, harkening back to our time on the deck I am.
Okie dokies. You don't really have a focus for that, so it's just going to be down to control and science.
My imaginary archaeological.
Oh yes, of course. The holodeck program that everybody has totally forgiven Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang for. I will take that stony silence as a... Yeah, right. Forgiveness. Not the word we would have used, Matt, but okay.
Excuse me.
Alright, if folks want to give me the various rolls then to see what you get. 2 successes from Hopkins, so that's 1 momentum there. 3 successes from SOT, so that's 2 extra momentum there. And 2 successes from Gurkha, so you're already up to 4 in your momentum pool. Okay, groovy. So all in all, looking at the same thing from different directions, what you find is that some time ago, in fact, I'm gonna get Memory Alpha to help me here. I can't spell Sarpeidons. Did they actually post the star date for that? Okay, it was destroyed in 2269, so... what was the name of the episode? All Our Yesterdays. Did they state a star date? 5943.7. Okay, so you find you find Starfleet logs of the Enterprise dated stardate 5943.7 and thereabouts. The USS Enterprise responded to an alert that the Beta Niobe star was going to go supernova and that there was a member world called Sarpeidon, which was under threat from being destroyed by the supernova, so the Enterprise was dispatched to evacuate the populace. When they got there, they found the planet empty except for one guy. When they beamed down, they found that there was like a... it was almost like a library, of a vast informational repository that this one man was tending to, and there was also a machine. The machine apparently was called the Atavacron, and was the means by which the Sarpeidons propelled themselves into their own history. The crew of the Enterprise, which the Enterprise away team, which consisted of the captain, the first officer, and the chief medical officer, so Bones, Spock, and McCoy, when they went down, they found that this repository was replete with all these like digital disc media that, when viewed through a proper reader, would show glimpses of a certain point in time in the planet Sarpeidon's history. And when these discs were loaded into the control unit for the Atavacron, it would allow a the Atavachron's archway to create a stable temporal gateway, which allowed the Sarpeidons to cross from what was at that point their present into their past. And that was how they evacuated themselves. There is a note in the captain's log from the Enterprise that there was a slight mishap as Spock and McCoy found themselves blithely, they just wandered into the Atavachron Arch when it was accidentally activated and found themselves in Sarpeidon's Ice Age. Kirk, who went to try and retrieve them, ended up in a different point in the planet's history, and so they went through various misadventures before they were eventually able to find their way back. But just before the Beta Niobe star went nova, the caretaker, librarian, whatever you want to call him, the man in charge of operating the Atavachron, he programmed the final destination that he was going to retreat into before he ran through the Atavachron Arch, and then the Enterprise away team had to get beamed back really quickly because they had to escape the blast radius of the star going supernova, and that was the last anybody heard of the Sarpeidons. Since then, the supernova ended up creating a neutron star rather than anything like a black hole. So, as a result, for those who don't know, and I'm going to keep this into the most basic of whatever because I myself only have a basic understanding of it myself, but a neutron star is like a super dense star and therefore has a lot brighter a shine, but also gives out gravity quite a few million times greater than Earth's sun. So as such, it has created pockets of gas around the place which have formed nebulae. But for the most part, the planetary system has been reduced to basically a lot of asteroids which are currently orbiting, if not being actively drawn into the neutron star itself. As such, you can expect when you arrive in the Beta Niobe system to experience a lot of gravitational pull the closer you get to the neutron star. Not to mention that there's going to be the problem of various different densities of planetary debris to have to navigate through. So there's going to be plenty of hazards to have to be mindful of. So with all of that information, is there anything particular you want to have a look at or ask questions of? More detailed information that you want to get out of it? Was there anything different you want to do? Different but related.
Do we need to plot a safe course, or are we able to get there unharmed given all the variances that we'll be encountering along the way?
Well, at the very least, standard procedure is to come out of warp at the very edge of the system, which is what you imagine Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang is going to do as soon as, you drop out of warp into the system. So, at the very least, you should start off at the very edge, the safe edge of the system.
Okay.
The closer you get to the star, though, the more interesting things are going to become.
No, I can't think of anything before we exit warp.
Okie dokie do.
Ken? No, it's alright.
You sure?
I was gonna say, having the sensors, do a sweep before we get there, so we can come into a safe, at least somewhere safe.
Make sure it is actually safe. That's a good point.
Okie dokie, okie dokie, okie do. In which case, we can probably get Lieutenant Gurkow to give us a sensor scan with help from the combs. So, who hasn't done much rolling? Dave! Since you brought it up, you may as well be the ship, using sensors and science, I suppose. And
Where's...
Connie, if you can give me control and science in order to utilize the ship's sensors, the difficulty should be just 1.
Do I go into
Yeah.
starships?
Yes, if you go to... Actually, pardon me, no. If you find the folder USS Combs Crew and Ships, it should be underneath starships.
Yep.
There's a subfolder called Ships.
USS Combs. What was it? Sensors and
Science.
science?
Control and science is 2 successes from our Chief Science Officer. Whey!
Is it just the 1?
Just the 1 dice, yes.
Oh no, that was right, minutes ago.
Oh,
I
that was a
also
few minutes
wanted
ago.
to ask
Yeah.
about the statistical probability books, maybe?
Sure. Statistical probability will indicate that there will be a certain high chance of certain types
Yeah.
of things occurring if there is a neutron star in the system, so yes.
Right.
With our advanced sensor suites and high resolution sensors,
That brought the difficulty from 2 down to 1, and it means you'll get extra momentum for success, so yes.
we haven't got. It's just the wrong dice, isn't it? Yeah.
Just the 1 dice, please. If it was 2 dice, that would mean that the ship was rolling for itself, and that would have all different kinds of connotations. 2 successes, which means you get 1 over what you needed, but any successful task that is assisted by the ship sensors gains a bonus momentum, so rather than just the 1 momentum, you gain 2, so you're up to full already. Right, yes, using long-range sensors and tailoring the sensors because they have a high statistical probability of detecting certain astrological phenomena, you can confirm that Beta Niobe does have a lot higher gravitational output, which as such will create difficulty for navigation, and will more than likely require more power output from the engines in order to move about because of the neutron star's gravity. There is also, long-range sensors do detect a lot of debris in the system, probably from planets and planetoids in the system having been pulled apart, at first from the supernova explosion and then from the intense gravity of the neutron star forming, or being currently there. So there's going to be also navigational hazards present in the system as a result. So yes, likely hazards in the area are going to be extra power needing to be drawn from the engines, as well as having to be very careful as to what and where you pilot through, at risk of colliding with various bits of asteroidal debris.
And sorry.
No, carry on.
Can I then make sure that there's some like safeguards for the engine if we're going to put a lot of strain on the engine?
Okay, let's see. Well, the ship's power is the ship's power, but you can certainly get procedures put in place in order to get everybody ready to keep trying to cycle energy from the warp core in order to provide power.
Yep.
So, basically telling your engineering crew to get ready to crank up the intermix chamber for a bit of additional matter-antimatter collision.
It's basically me getting my I'm giving it all she's got talent ready.
Yes. So you're getting folks ready for the inevitable, basically.
Yeah.
You know, guys, we're going to be expecting this kind of thing, so be ready with X, Y, and Z. Alright. Anyone else got any preparations and other stuff they want to make as a result of this information that you now know?
I don't think we can do it until we're out of
Actually,
war, but
though.
we should plot a good and safe route to minimise impact to the engines and avoiding collisions once we're there.
Okay.
Doing another scan to plot a safe course.
You got a full momentum pool, you don't need any more. But nonetheless, yes. Okay. So, eventually, Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang signals that you are about to enter the Beta Niobe system, at which point Captain Sobek asks for the ship to drop out of warp. And puts a notice for Admiral Stoker, please report to the bridge. We have entered the Beta Niobe system. At which point Admiral Stoker comes out of the captain's ready room, quick as a flash. Sure enough, if I can just direct your attention to the map that I'm about to switch us to. The Combs has popped in at the very edge of the system. And
It's black.
it's black.
The blackness is
Black as my soul. So yes, the neutron star has eliminated everything. There is nothing anymore. No, I know what to do for that. Pop.
It's purple.
Yes.
Pretty.
So a lot of that comes from the like nebula gases that replete throughout this system. The asteroids are quite thick around the outer perimeter. But they do form like spiral patterns and whatnot as they get closer to the star itself, as they're being drawn in slowly over time. But there's a lot of debris out there, so as you should be able to see, I have posted 2 traits for this system: asteroidal debris and neutron star gravity. Do I have... Actually, I forgot to activate something, the neutron star itself. So, immediately upon entering the system, there is a slight rumble of the deck, which Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang notes is a result of the high gravity pull of the star. So she is currently holding this position at the moment, which is the safe zone, as it were, to hold at. Captain Sobek looks to the Admiral. Very well, Admiral, we are here. What are your orders? Admiral Stoker seems to be almost entranced by what she's looking at, but anybody who looks at her sees that her eyes are darting about as if she's scanning the asteroid field for something. It's not entirely clear what, but nevertheless. She eventually realizes that everyone's waiting on her, at which point she just brings herself back to the moment. The asteroidal debris field is too dense to risk the Combs going in, so I suggest we utilize a shuttlecraft, something small and maneuverable. I will be going on this away mission myself, and in all likelihood we're going to be examining some of these asteroids and pieces of planetary debris from the outside, so in all likelihood we're looking at a zero-G EVA suited mission. So, I am going to request Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang be the shuttle pilot. Lieutenant Gurkow, as Chief Science Officer, I want you present on the away mission as well. I want you to be available for any and all such requirements of your knowledge base. Lieutenant Flesk, I'll be wanting you to come along as well. Your metallurgical and mineralogical science focuses might be useful to see whether or not we can identify if there are any pieces of planetary debris with a similar kind of mineralogical composition to what we're looking for. That should be just about it, except maybe I will be requiring your chief engineer to come along with us just in case we need some kind of engineering expertise.
Should we send a probe in ahead of us so we can see what else is there, but also use as a communications relay if need be?
Good idea, Lieutenant. Lieutenant Garrow, bring us up a Class 2 probe, but try and make sure it doesn't get too close to the gravity field of the neutron star, if you could.
I will do that. Right.
This is just going to be a control and science check for Lieutenant Garrow, but this is going to be aided by the ship. So, Liz, if you could find the combs for me, please, and give us... let's see. This is going to be sensors and science from the combs, please.
And from me, it's control science as well, is it?
Yes, please.
Control science.
Because you are sending off a scientific probe rather than an actual weapon.
I don't really need to do any focuses or...
You don't really have any, but you shouldn't need it. It's just a probe.
Just a probe.
As long as you point it in the right general direction and not too close to the neutron star gravity field, you should be fine. Thanks, Liz, for that one success.
So two dice on mine?
2 dice for you, please, yes. Minus 17, so two results, 2 successes overall. Okay, so Garrow is able to fire off a Mark II probe, which goes off into the outer debris field and starts bringing back telemetry data. As has been suggested, there are dense pockets of debris, but there are means by which a small craft like a shuttlecraft could maneuver around without too much difficulty, as long as you've got a competent pilot. And if you want to use it as a communication relay, then yes, it's been set at a safe enough distance that if needs be, it can be used as a communications relay. So yeah, success there. All right. Everybody cool with this away team? Cool. So, standard shuttle should do the good probing from Garrow. Yes, indeed.
Oh my.
So, yes, we have got Flask, Zhang, Gurkow, Tavish, and the Admiral herself, all of whom are going to need EVA suits.
Did Flask ever take us off?
It's going to be a bit stinky if he didn't. Thankfully, it's not in his inventory, so I think he did take it off.
Where do you get these again? I can't remember.
Right, so if you go to the items area, which is the icon on the right-hand side that looks like a suitcase.
Yeah.
And it says items when you hover over it. If you press that and go to character equipment folder,
yeah,
you should find a load of different stuff.
We don't need an anti-grav sled, do we?
I mean...
Admiral Stoker can't quite justify the the inclusion of an anti-grav sled unless you're planning on bringing some pretty hefty gear, and even then you're going to be out in 0 Gs anyway. If you're going to be doing any spacewalks, so...
Okay, alright.
If you want to take the anti-grav sled, then you're going to have to pay the opportunity cost of 2 momentum.
No, I'm okay. I'm not spending momentum just because I want to take an anti-grav sled with me.
Well, what about mass spectrometers and engineering tricorders?
Those could have justification.
I've already got an engineering tricorder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I haven't got a mass spectrometer.
EVA suits can be found in armor and protective gear for those who are going to be taking such.
Do we need a chronometer? Maybe?
Yes, we would.
Not a bad idea.
Do you want to take that, Connie?
Yep. It's in my inventory.
Hey.
Awesome. Mass spectrometer, Flesh, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take one of those. I've taken the wrong thing. I now have a mass spectrometer.
Do you think we need anything else?
I'm taking the silence as no one can think of anything else.
We
It's
are
a very
quite
basic
close.
wrist torch / beacon, but
We are close to a neutron star. Are we definitely not taking the anti-grav sled?
There's anti-grav rather than a.
Can we take the? Have we got a chronometer?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
grabbed a chronometer
Tools and portable items.
and got rid of it. So I've got the mass spectrometer instead of the chronometer.
We got a
Okay.
chronometer.
Yeah, then Carney grabbed the chronometer.
Okay.
All right.
Oh yes, Stoker needs to grab an EVA suit.
So yeah, I'll take the anti-grav then, just in case. And who knows, we can MacGyver it if we get into trouble.
Well, you're going to need
Oh,
to.
do you really want to do that?
Not the sled, just anti-grav.
Do we want to take a pattern enhancer?
Never hurts, just in case.
Maybe it was pretty clutch in the last episode.
Yeah.
And if you do take a pattern enhancer, Hawkins is going to go down to the transporter rooms and monitor the person. It's going to have a lock on you guys, just in case.
Okie dokie.
I'll take the pattern enhancer.
All right then.
Okay.
So, as before, you have. Actually, that's a good point. What small craft do you have? You've got a Type 6 shuttlecraft or the Guicha that you could take into.
They have a Type 6 shuttlecraft.
I was going to say, I don't think the Greechell's coming out in this one.
Even though it has better shields.
Okay, so let's give ourselves the shuttlecraft and the away team. So, even though I'm going to be copying the tokens of the away team to the map with detailing you guys in space, this is just for ease of reference. So it doesn't mean that your bodies are floating in the void.
At least not yet.
Hey, optimism. There we go. You never know. Not with that attitude, you couldn't. So let's take these guys off to one side for the moment. Just to represent them not being immediately available on the bridge. So, these folks are all that remain. Helm officer, who's going to take the helm instead. Vincent Akos has got 2 con. May as well be him. And as far as operations goes, I suppose operations rather than just simply sensors, so we'll do that for now. Okay. So, everybody got their EVA suits all packed and ready? Yes, indeed. Everybody got every piece of equipment they want to take with them on this away mission.
Did the anti-grav, not the anti-grav sled, but the anti-grav, did that have an opportunity cost?
It says 1.
So does that
Anti-gravs
take
are a
one
range of
momentum?
different devices designed to reduce or negate the weight of objects to which they are attached, allowing heavy objects to be moved easily. Multiple anti-gravs are used to provide lift for vehicles like hovercars. So, an
I should
anti-grav is just an
put that back
anti-gravity generator on its own.
Alright, I'll take that out. Seeing as it costs something.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take it so we can put some gravity in space. Sounds like a plan.
Well,
Oh,
technically
okay.
speaking,
No,
considering what's
don't.
in Beta Niobe, I think you've got an overabundance of gravity.
Alright, I'll put it back.
Fine. But you can't play with my stuff later either. Anywho. Alright, so we have our away team. The pilot is going to be Lieutenant Commander Zhang, well, overseen by Admiral Stoker with Flesk, Gurkow, and Tavish in tow. So, the shuttlecraft is primed and ready to go, and it's time to take it into the asteroid belt, which means we're going to need a piloting helm check from Zhang, and somebody can help out if they wish. I mean, Gurkow has got con of 3, so she makes for a more than adequate
I will help just because
co-pilot. Just because of parent figure, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and with the shuttlecraft helping, that's 5. So, can I have... Liz, if you could be the shuttlecraft, Chris Powell, if you could be Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang.
Sure thing.
Zhang is going to be rolling 2 dice because she's the Chief Helm Officer, and she's going to be using Control and Con with a focus on propulsion systems and shuttlecraft, so... Whereas everybody else is going to be giving me Control and Con with only 1 dice.
Can I use my extravehicular activity?
Can indeed.
Lovely.
Lovely. Nothing from Flask, but 1 from Gurkow. Excellent. And who did I say be the shuttle?
So it's engineering and con, right?
Engineering and Con, yeah, that'll make the most sense. Okay, so overall we got 1, 2, 3. Pretty good. So, it isn't exactly a straightforward flight, needless to say. At first, taking off from the shuttle bay of the combs and flying out is easy enough. There are only a smattering of asteroids with which to dodge, but the closer you get, the more clumped they become, and of course there are rocks bouncing off of each other as well, the impacts of which can create lots of smaller rocks, so there's no small amount of hazards with which to dodge. But at the moment, you're doing okay. Lieutenant Commander Zhang is piloting the thing well, with help from Lieutenant Gurkow as well. You're plotting your course using the best and most readily available gaps in between the asteroids to navigate your way. So whilst those two are busy navigating, Flesk can have a good old attempt at scanning. Tavish can potentially help as well, and maybe if Chris Bell rolls as the shuttlecraft.
Okie dokie.
Shuttlecraft will be rolling sensors and science, whereas Flesk and Tavish can give me control and science.
Am I just rolling the 1 dice?
You are probably rolling 2, since you are the one with the metallurgical focus.
Oh, okay. So, adding a focus, rolling 2.
And it'd be just 1 for me then.
1 for you and 1 for the Dave as well, if Tavish can give us a roll too. Excellent. So the shuttle comes through. You might want to give the shuttle a name. She's already done you well. 1, 2, 3.
Go team up, great face.
I'm thinking exactly going like that.
Boaty McBoatface.
I believe it's an ancient
naval
ship
tradition
name of much renown.
Yeah.
21st century.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't there a ship actually called Boaty McBoatface?
Yep.
Yes and no.
It's actually it's the little drone thing that's on the on the David Attenborough.
So originally
The-
the request,
yeah.
as far as I understand it, like Chris was saying, the original poll was to name the actual boat. but they left it up to the public to come up with a name, and therefore Boaty McBoatface came up, and naturally people went, that's a brilliant idea for a boat. But because they wanted to be taken seriously as a marine science vessel, they went with the David Attenborough instead, but they decided to keep the Boaty McBoatface, as Chris has just mentioned, for the drone. So this is what happens when you let the public loose on certain things. So there you go.
Yeah. Never, ever, ever leave a poll open to the British public. Because, yeah.
Is the lesson here, yes. Okay. Those sensor rolls... Pardon me, go on, Chris.
Sorry, no. I was going to say something I probably would regret later, so I'll leave it.
Leave it to our imagination, that's fine.
Yep. Okay.
The shuttle is maneuvering very, very well, with both Zhang and Gurkau helping to pilot the thing around the obstacles, and this gives Flesk and Tavish time to start scanning the asteroidal debris to see what they can find. At the moment, you are finding what you pretty much expect to find. You are finding traces of iron, nickel, iridium, palladium, and platinum. Some of these can be pretty reflective as far as sensors go, so the fact that you had such really good sensor results there show that you guys are definitely professionals, and that Boaty McBoatface has got a pretty good sensor suite.
It's got a new name now. Done by Mark. It's called Shutty the Shuttle.
Shutty.
Sorry, I saw it. I love it. So in Discord, I was like, "Yeah, I love it." Yeah.
Shutty the Shuttle. Well then, far be it for me to offer you the ability to name your shuttle and then not allow you to name your shuttle because it sounds silly. But okay. Shutty is now doing very well for herself and is giving you some good sensor readouts. So you're finding pretty much everything you expect to find in asteroidal planetary debris. But there are a couple of mineralogical anomalies that your sensor readings are pinging back with. And they appear to be coming from large bits of asteroidal debris, which I will draw little indicators around so that you can tell which ones are the anomalies. In that they are coming back with traces of iron and titanium, but the fact that it's coming back with titanium, and in some cases tritanium, seems to indicate that there are less typical minerals being found in some of these locations. Meanwhile, go on, sorry.
Scan it. I was hoping to say, if we can't scan it, can we get the crew back on the combs to use the...
Well, you could scan it, but you'd do better if you got closer, is what I'm trying to allude here. So you now have places where you could now aim the shuttle to maybe conduct some closer investigation. But we'll come back to that as we zip ourselves back to the bridge of the combs. So everybody else is currently sat on the bridge watching the shuttle as it pilots its way through the asteroid. And yep, I imagine most folks are fine with that. They're very confident in the away team's ability to successfully navigate through the asteroid belt, and they're doing very well so far. Asteroidal debris, I should say, rather than actual belt, because it's everywhere. And that is when Lieutenant Garrow gets a quick notification on his readouts that there was a temporary atmospheric fluctuation on deck 15. But that atmospheric fluctuation disappeared just as quickly as it registered.
Captain, brief anomaly appeared on deck. Was it 15?
Deck 15.
I'm going to go down there and take a look.
Very well, Lieutenant, if that is what you think you should do. Okay. Garrow can go down to deck 15. Now, Garrow can give me a control and security check in order to try and get a more focused isolation of where on deck 15 you are going. Just for reference, deck 15 is the lowest deck on the ship and contains the antimatter loading port, the forward tractor beam emitter, tractor beam subsystems, plasma relay control rooms, and the housing for the landing gear for if and when the Combs ever has to do a planetary landing.
So I guess I can put survival on this one.
Why not? Yes, do that.
Roll 2 dice. Yeah.
Yes, please. Ooh, hello. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
It's nice to get a complication. It has to be.
you can, if you want. I mean,
Where I go? Nope. Okay.
you can use a determination to force a reroll,
Okay. Yeah.
or
I'll
you
do-
can very
Please,
quickly.
Your Honor. Please, Your
Damn
Honor.
it! I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
Sorry. What was the?
You have the Legion of Honor.
Of course.
I almost did it. I almost got there.
Yeah. In which case, I will use my Legion of Honor
All right.
and ignore that complication completely.
Okay. Using the tricorder and accessing the sensor systems that gave you the alert, you managed to narrow it down to the atmosphere within the antimatter storage momentarily fluctuated, as if antimatter storage was suddenly open to the vacuum of space for all of a brief second. So eventually, Garrow finds himself down in antimatter storage, and I hope you guys can see this.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
So you come out of the turbo lift, and you're now on deck 15 outside of antimatter storage, which is this room here.
Okay, I'm gonna go in.
Right, well, door opens, in you go. So you find pretty much what you expect to find, the various canisters of anti-deuterium in their safe, secure stasis cylinders. So whenever a refill of the warp engine's antimatter needs doing, this is where the anti-deuterium is stored. Can I get Garrow to give me an insight and security test? And I will allow you to use survival for this.
Insight. Insight and security.
Yes, please. Difficulty
And
2.
with difficulty 2 with survival.
You can use momentum if you want to, and if everybody else is okay with you doing so.
Is everyone okay with me doing that?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So I thought 1 momentum.
Which means you can now roll 3 dice.
Hang on. Just getting my. There we go. 3 dice.
Oh, hello. Hello, hello.
Yeah. The Legion of Honor's not going to help me here. Oh dear.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
Oh, no.
Hmm.
Wow.
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 Okay.
That's-
the antimatter
What?
Oh, guys, it's been fun.
Goodbye,
Ow.
That is miraculously bad.
Dave,
I-
somebody has just broken your record.
Yes, I know. I know. I've just seen. Yes. Chris, I'm so sorry. You've broken my record.
Okay, alright.
All right. Let's see what happens.
Garrow starts searching around, and nothing seems out of place, but he's got this niggling feeling that something is wrong. You know, just for the atmospheric sensors to suddenly trip and say, vacuum of space! Oh, wait, no. Is weird. And so, you know, being the diligent head of security that he is, Garrow has come down just to make sure that everything is fine. So Garrow's looking around. I mean, something going wrong in the antimatter storage is one of the worst possible places for something to go wrong, so checking and double-checking is a really good idea. Garrow moves around, checks the seals, makes sure everything's okay, accidentally knocks one of them and just grabs the canister quickly before it rolls too far over. He holds it, waits for a moment. Nothing happens. He lets out the breath he didn't realize he was holding. He was like, geez, Garrow, that was stupid. And with that sudden wash of relief, Garrow opens one of the maintenance lockers, has a look around, hears something behind him, and just as he turns, there's a flash and he goes unconscious.
Oops.
Okay.
Should I perhaps go check on him?
Well, you don't know this is going on at the moment. However,
Okay.
back on the bridge. Let's just say for the ease of whatever. I mean, Garrow's not there currently, but we'll keep his token on the bridge for the moment, just for ease of reference. The EMH and Nurse Uro are back in sickbay, but let's just say for the sake of argument, that Dr. Sot is currently taking on his bridge station, just so that he can watch the away team's shuttle mission in case he needs to spring to action and go out in a shuttle himself to help. Apparently, Nurse Uro and the EMH are having a check out of the captain's ready room. Either that or they're joining the list of people who aren't
Out of
here
sight,
at the
out of
moment.
mind.
So yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So I will ask Hopkins and Sot to give me insight and command checks individually. Difficulty of 1. To see what they pick up on. 1 success from Hopkins, nothing from Dr. Sot. So Hopkins is doing her rounds of the bridge stations like any first officer should do, just to check that everything is working as expected, that sensors have still got a lock on the away team and their shuttle. As Hopkins is doing the rounds, she notices Councillor Sachs is wearing something of a puzzled expression on her face. She's not exactly focused on anything in particular. She's kind of got that faraway look, but that faraway look that's as if she's trying to figure something out but can't quite get there.
You need anything, counselor?
As soon as Hopkins mentions this, the councillor snaps out of almost like a daydream. I'm not exactly sure how to explain this, Commander, but okay, I'm gonna do my best. As you know, I'm a telepath, and it's difficult to define this, especially when I'm having to use terms that are more familiar to you with your, and I hesitate to use the word, more limited senses, but I'm going to do my best. I can sense every mind on the ship, and I don't necessarily mean that I can hear everybody's thoughts all at once, but just the mere presence of other living minds on this ship gives the whole place like a... again, I'm going to have to use words that are as close as I can get in the senses that you know. But there's almost like a hum or a buzz, like a background engine rumble, letting you know that the ship is still powered up. I get that in a different way, so that I can sense everybody's minds on this ship without actually focusing on any one individual and hearing their specific thoughts. It's just like a background crowd murmur. And for a moment, well, as of right now, I cannot sense Lieutenant Garrow. And I cannot sense the area around where I think Lieutenant Garrow is or was. Almost like there's a void. It's like an absence. It's hard to describe. And I think it's on deck 15.
Computer, locate Lieutenant Garrow.
Lieutenant Garrow is on deck 15. Antimatter storage.
I'll be back, Captain. I'm gonna go check on him.
Do you require any security personnel to go with you?
I better go as well, right, in case of emergency.
Yeah, I'll have a contingency of security since I can't use my bat lift.
The captain kind of turns around slowly when he hears that, with even the Vulcan expression of, oh really? Nevertheless. Alright, so you guys go down in the turbo lift to try and find out what's going on. But before we get there, let's zip ourselves back to the away team back in Beta Niobe space. Now, was there any particular cluster of those marked areas that you would like to investigate first?
I kind of want to go to the one closest to the nebula, but that's not the neutron star. But that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I was. Can we roll a d4?
Sure, if you want to go random.
Yeah, if that's all right.
Yes.
With,
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Connie and Mark.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love roll for
Random.
choice.
Do you want me to roll it?
You came up with the idea, why not?
Yep.
So I'll go from the top left being 1, then top right being 2, etc.
Okay.
2. So you're going for this one way the heck over here. Okay.
Oh, alright.
So you'll be skirting the outer edge of the intensified gravity of the neutron star, but nonetheless skirting along its edge. Trying to get to this area. This is, of course, going to require a con check from our pilot and co-pilot. So let's have, well, Connie and who hasn't rolled for a bit? Let's go with Mr. Powell. You can be Lieutenant Commander Leon Zhang. And give me a control and con check. Supported by Lieutenant Gurkow and the Shutty McShuttle. Shutty the Shuttle. Because you named it, Mark, you can be Shutty the Shuttle. So Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang gets 1 success. Groovy, groovy. No help from Neshlal, as it Gets pretty fraught out there, dodging past these massive asteroids, and finally, Shutty the shuttle.
I found the card for Type 6A, not Shutty the shuttle. Oh, I could just click on the. Let's zoom in. Shutty the shuttle. There we go. Sorry, what was I doing? Which role? Sensors and science? No.
What did I suggest? Yeah, sensors and science. Oh no, we were doing navigation, so it's engines and con, please.
Engines and con. 1 dice. Roll. Yeah.
Alright, so 1 success overall. Alrighty. Well, since you seem pretty attached to Shutty the shuttle as a name, let's link this guy up. Can I spell Shutty? Boop. If I take that away and replace it with the one I just created, does that give us one that we can keep coming back to? Should do. Shutty the shuttle. Is he all linked up? I say he. She. Is she all linked up? She's all linked up. Excellent. We generated 2 successes. Oh, sorry, 1 success overall. So there is going to be a point where an asteroid looms out of seemingly nowhere after colliding with another one and comes at the shuttlecraft out of a blind spot. As such, Shutty's shields have been knocked down by the glancing blow, but as of this point, you haven't suffered any hull damage or system damage to the shuttle. But shields have taken a knock due to the fact that you just collided with a large rock in space. Nevertheless, the large rock in space in question that you were looking to navigate towards does indeed appear to be somewhat larger in size than the other bits of planetary debris that you've come across, and there even seems to be something protruding out of this bit of disembodied rock in space. And there appears to be just about enough room for the shuttle to park itself on this piece of former planet. So what would you like to do? Keep it from a distance and maybe use the transporter to beam down onto that rock and have a look? Or do you want to stay on the shuttle and do scans from here? Or do you want to land the shuttle and have a look around? Or any options I haven't just...
If we can land the shuttle, that's one, and that's...
Yeah, have a look around.
Yeah.
Land the shuttle.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So,
I'll
needless
go
to
with the popular
say...
vote.
Sorry, what was that?
I said I'll go with the popular vote.
So, Lieutenant Commander Zhang insists that she remain in the shuttle just in case a rapid takeoff is needed. But Admiral Stoker is practically, as soon as Shutty the shuttle lands on the asteroid, that Admiral Stoker is already suiting herself into her EVA suit and is getting ready to exit onto the surface. Alright, we're here to have a good thorough look around, so let's see what we can't find. Meanwhile, and we are going to be bouncing around a lot. So it was Hopkins and Dr. Sott that went off after Lieutenant Garrow. So I'm just going to stick you there. And I'm going to bring us to antimatter storage. Oh, wait, I should be doing this one. So, Hopkins and Dr. Sott exit the turbo lift and find themselves outside the door to antimatter storage. What do they want to do?
We can't see him immediately. I guess we should start scanning for life signs.
Okay, that will be a control and medicine check. Two successes from Dr. Sott. One success from Commander Hopkins, which gives you 3. There's a life sign in this maintenance closet. When you open it, you find Lieutenant Garrow on the floor, unconscious.
Okay, maybe I should give him a bit of an examination.
He appears to have been stunned, probably by a particle weapon set to stun at not close range, but close enough that there's a bit of a flash burn on his skin where the beam hit.
I guess I should inform the commander that we may have an intruder on board.
Great. She'll alerts all security to be on the lookout for an intruder, or a possible intruder.
Alright. So a security alert is now sounded, which means that, yes, all security checkpoints are now going to start having security officers heading towards them if they're not already there, and security now are going to become active across the ship.
Can I bring Garrow around as well?
Yep, that should be no problem. So Garrow wakes up after he gets a hyper spray in the neck to bring him around. Garrow has a slight headache from taking a stun shot at close range, but is otherwise unhurt.
Pride is hurting way more than that.
Yeah. I don't know, you should be proud. A 20, a 20, and a 19 was a pretty unprecedented roll. No one else has managed that.
He didn't shoot himself, did he?
It doesn't appear so, no.
Or someone else in the leg. Oh wait, sorry, wrong group.
Yeah. Sorry, wrong game. So, yes. Garrow sadly doesn't remember seeing anything except a bright flash when he turned around when he thought he heard somebody coming up behind him.
Next time I go for one of these, I'm taking a team with me.
That would be smart next time.
Mm.
Or at least a Klingon.
Okay, you've got security alert now in place. What would you like to do? What's your first course of action that you want to take?
Dr.
Can we do some
Sott,
kind of... Oh, sorry.
are you able to scan to see if there's any other signs or remnants of another life form that might have been here?
Yeah, I can try and do that. I was going to suggest doing like a ship-wide scan as well to see, you know, if the numbers add up.
Cool, yeah.
In terms of if there's an extra person on board.
So that could be done by somebody on the bridge, so you guys can either stay here, or you can return to the bridge, or you can go somewhere else.
I think maybe we should do Hopkins' idea first of like just sort of scanning the area around here.
Alright, so that can be a control and medicine, or a control and security check, whichever one you have a preference for.
mess.
seems like Sot is leading the charge on this, and very, very well, so Hopkins and Garrow can give their own control and security check to see if they can get any more info, but my god.
Control and security or control and medicine?
Control and security if you think, because either applies, so whichever one you would prefer.
I just wanted to make sure, because one's higher than the other.
Exactly, so.
Okay, let's see if I can actually get something that isn't a complication this time. Okay.
Yes, you can. Very much so. Okay. The absence of evidence is what's troubling here. There is traces, so Hopkins and Garrow, using standard tricorders, detect a trace of the residual traces in the air of a particle weapon firing. But the make and model is difficult to tell. It's close to being a phaser, which narrows the scope down to pretty much every species that uses phasers as a weapon. But looking for any other extraneous life signs that might be in the area is not coming up with anything, especially not anything definitive. And the sheer absence of any data relating to, even skin flakes, looking for, shed skin flakes. You can find Garrows, and you would imagine if someone was around here, in here with him, then maybe they would shed some form of evidence that there was somebody else in here, but there's an entire lack of it, which in and of itself becomes a concern.
I'm starting to not like this system.
So with that information in mind, are you going to stay on this level, or are you going to go back up to the bridge, or are some of you staying on this level, and are some of you going back up to the bridge?
Actually, can I? Is there any some sort of camera footage or anything?
Internal sensors, yes.
Yes.
You can certainly try and access it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. The moment about, I'd say, from about 15 minutes before I was knocked out.
Cool.
Or the moment that anomaly came up.
That won't require any kind of check because you can just ask the computer for that, so that's no problem. So using one of the control panels on the wall, Garrow just says, "Computer, show me the sensor footage pertaining to the antimatter storage from the time date for 15 minutes before I entered." And sure enough, you get footage of the room looking pretty much as it does. And then just about the time where the sensors log a sudden fluctuation in the atmosphere, there is a definite rattle, as you can actually see some of the atmosphere vent towards the very locker that Garrow was found in. It happens for a couple of seconds only, but definitely happens, and then the internal atmosphere stabilizes again. The internal sensors shows the door to that closet where the sudden exposure to vacuum happened, shows the door open. Nobody comes out. The door closes. Then it shows the primary door to antimatter storage open some minutes later before it then closes, but there's no sign of anyone opening those doors or going through them.
Oh, I don't like this one bit.
Let's say rerun the footage if there's some sort of infrared or body heat
Okay.
overlay.
Can the Betazoids not detect anything?
Well, the Betazoids are currently on the bridge. This is currently all going on Deck 15 itself. So, if we want to jump back to the bridge maybe and have a good old look, but Garrow wanted to look to see if there were any infrared, like body heat type stuff. The infrared, looking at the internal sensors for infrared, there is a sudden drop in temperature when the atmosphere starts to leave. But again, the door opens, the door closes, there's nothing.
What about the moment I get knocked unconscious? That thing has to be very.
There is a discharge there's a sudden flash and a registered discharge of a particle weapon. The internal sensors can give a guesstimate that the point of origin was like 2 meters behind Garrow, but it can't render any point of origin because it can't find one. So again, it's like you got shot by a ghost. By the Invisible Man.
See.
Now,
Yeah.
jumping
Okay.
back to the bridge, there was a mention of, can the Betazoids sense anything? We've got the Counselor. There was another Betazoid, but that was Nurse Uro, and Nurse Uro has gone back to sickbay. So we can have Councillor Sachs give it a go, and Mark, since you came up with the idea, you may as well take the part of Councillor Sachs. And give me an insight and command check. Difficulty 2. And since she hasn't done very well before, you can always consider using momentum.
Team, you okay me stealing one of those momentums?
Do it.
Yes, you might actually succeed.
Does this count as her,
Empathy focus can work? Yep.
yeah, empathy focus? So rolling 3 with empathy focus.
Good, good, and good. 3 successes. Okay. So, I am assuming that Garrow and Andrews... Fuck, that's another threat gone. Garrow and Hopkins and Sot. At the very least, when you raise the security alert, the captain will have messaged back from the bridge asking about what's going on, and you mention, I presume, the potential of an intruder on board? Which...
yeah, and
Go on.
and also call back when we figure out, oh hey, there's probably someone on board, but the systems can't pick them up.
Which then prompts Councillor Sachs to try and use her telepathic and empathic senses to try and locate somebody. Councillor Sachs calls back to say that she can't locate somebody, but she still senses that void, that blank space on the ship, and it has moved. She can now sense Garrow again. The blank space is elsewhere nearby to where you guys are, but she's having difficulty pinpointing it because the void is like she describes it as like a bubble of nothingness that she obviously can't sense anything of in that nothingness because it's a void to her abilities. So, still on deck 15, elsewhere, there is a void in her telepathic and empathic senses that she cannot penetrate, but it has moved from where it was in antimatter storage to a bit further forward in the ship. Meanwhile, back to the away team. Be right back, no problem, Chris. Back to the away team. Having a look around on this piece of planetary debris, there is some evidence of civilization ruins, so the odd smashed bit of building architecture. And then you come across a rather familiar shape. Very tall, pointed, 5-sided monolith sticking out of the ground. As soon as it is noticed, Admiral Stoker stops dead in her tracks for all of a moment and then starts hurriedly moving towards it. I knew it! Gurkow,
Yeah.
Flask, I need you to scan this right away. We need to know if this is the same type of monolith that we've encountered before.
Where we scan?
Okay, so this is going to be a control and science with any respective focuses that you believe are applicable. And yes, statistical probability can help, because if it looks like a monolith, is shaped like a monolith, there's a high probability that certain mineralogical aspects of it will mirror what you expect to, will be what you expect to find, and therefore your focus can apply.
Oh,
And
lovely.
Metalgry as well.
Yes, indeed.
So am I rolling 1 with focus?
Whoever wants to be lead can be the lead. Both of you have got focus, so...
I'll assist with.
Oh.
Whoops. Ooh.
Oh.
That was good. And that was even better.
Oh, hey.
Okay. The monolith contains the same tracery that you've come across before, the same kind of engravings that at first look like circuit pathways, but also are shaped in certain fashions that suggest almost pictographical or hieroglyphical, I should say, depictions of something. And when you scan it, the mineralogical composition matches pretty damned well the monoliths that you've come across before on Seku 6, on it's a smaller version of what you came across on Bacchus 4, and also matches very strongly with your mission to system HIP 73513, where you found the dead remnants of the Roloa Shal culture who had based their technology on the monoliths they found. So this monolith is made in the same way, of the same materials. As such, with that many successes, giving it a good old scan, it's definitely not hollow, and seems to contain the same kind of energy conduction matrices that the one on the planet where your ship nearly got pulled into by those 2 planetary tractor beams. That suggests that this particular monolith was built with the ability to conduct energy, and conduct it very well. The interesting thing about this monolith is that there's no obvious source from which the monolith would have been drawing energy from, especially because you're basically in a bit of cracked piece of planet in space. But it's still showing the potential for energy convection. How much of this do you let known to the rest of the away team? Is my first question.
All of it, surely.
Yeah.
Cool. In that case, Admiral Stoker steps forward and kind of puts her hand on the monolith for a moment, before she then looks over at Tavish. Tavish, I want you to go into the shuttle and replicate me a power pack. If this monolith has got the same kind of energy convection ability as the monoliths of the Roloa Shal, then I want to test that. I want to power this monolith up. Get me a power pack and hook it up to this monolith.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. This is going to require a bit of ingenious modification from Tavish, because there's no obvious plug port with which to plug this power pack, any power pack that you bring out, into the monolith. So it's going to have to be something a little bit different. So in that regard, I'll be looking for let's go with a daring and engineering check from Tavish, and anybody else who wants to help with this somewhat unorthodox engineering
Parent
venture.
figure right here.
Flask puts his hands up. I can help! Does Gurkha want in as well, or is she alright to step back and watch?
Yeah, I can help.
Cool. So, between that's Gurkha and Flask assisting with, again, daring and engineering. Anything to do with power systems or that kind of thing will help. That was almost a 20. I saw it hover on a 20. But it went on to an 18, so okay.
This is not an extended task.
It is not an extended task.
Power systems or experimental technology?
Either or works. One success from Gurkha. Nice, nice. So it's now all down to Tavish. That looks pretty good. 4 successes in total. So no need of parent figures rerolls or stuff like that. Cool. So you do indeed. You use what you remember from when you were in system HIP blah 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 blah. Where you remember that even firing a phaser at one of these structures just absorbed the energy and channeled it elsewhere. So in this case, it's a simple matter of creating an energy, like a battery pack that can project its energy outwards. So you need to modify the output of the energy pack slightly. But with all of that engineering knowledge and talent at your disposal, you do manage it. And sure enough, you are able to prepare the battery pack, so it's ready to go. And Stoker just looks at you all and goes, right, turn it on, now. I take it you do it?
Well, she's an admiral. I've got to listen to my admiral.
If only we had a beta solid on board.
I will say Tavish is doing this reluctantly, seeing as we don't know exactly what these monoliths do.
Okay.
Actually, no. Tavish is actually going to speak up to the admiral and actually say, should we really be doing this when we don't know exactly what this is going to this monolith is actually going to do?
There's only one way to know for sure, isn't there, Lieutenant?
There is, Mom, yes.
Do it.
Okay.
That's an order.
Alright,
Oh.
if that's an
Okay.
order, I will do it.
The O word.
When you put it like that, you know.
Oh yeah, Stoker is laser focused on this monolith, and it's almost like she's bated breath, waiting to see what happens.
I am pressing the red button to switch it on.
Okay, so a stream of energy starts filing out, and immediately the monolith starts to draw it in. The tracery of the circuits on the outside of the monolith start to light up, and soon the entire monolith itself starts to glow. Your tricorders spring into action and register that not only is there a power source now active as the monolith itself is activated, it's also, your tricorders are also registering, and the same goes for the shuttle sensors as well if you consult them, that the power is being drawn into the monolith, and that power is being projected elsewhere. How it's being projected at the moment is not immediately obvious. But we will come back to that when we jump back to the cones. Back on the cones. So, Hopkins and Garrow and Sot are back on the bridge, or not, maybe, depending on how they wanted to handle what Councillor Sachs said about what she was sensing. So, did they want to remain on Deck 15 and have a look for what might be going on, or did you want to go to the bridge and try and coordinate efforts from there?
Can the counselor kind of guide Hopkins to where the void is?
Are
Goes
Garrow
to-
and Sot going to go with Hopkins?
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, in that case. Can she guide you? Yes, she can. Okay, let's see.
We're going on a little adventure.
So, let's just make sure you can see this. Can you see what you can see? Can you see the area in front of you?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, doing her best to track this void, the councillor is leading the three of you further towards the fore end of Deck 15. And there are a couple of rooms, as well as entrance to the main entrance to the Jeffries tubes, and you realize that you are close to tractor beam control. Tractor beam control? Hang on, Deck 15. So you've moved from antimatter storage, and yes, you're near the forward tractor beam emitters and the tractor beam subsystem controls. What would you like to do now that you are here? The council reports that there is a void nearby, but it's moving away.
Which direction is it moving away from us?
It is now moving... It's now moving along the ship and is currently moving up, going up decks. It seems to be slowly traveling
Must
up.
be in the Jeffries ship.
Okay. So you yourself are in the Jeffries tubes, and yes, there's tubes going left and right, and of course there's the ladders going up. So Hopkins has just charged off. Garrow and Sot are trailing behind. Are you going to go straight into the Jeffries tubes with? Or are you going to have a look around the area where you're at? Or are you going to do something else? What are you going to do?
The area.
Okay, cool. Dr. Sot, these are the areas, it seems, for little tractor beam control. So you can give them a once-over if you want, but there's nobody in the rooms. What about Garrow and Hopkins?
I'm going to take a look at these turbo lifts. I don't think there's going to be anything in there, but
No, turbo lifts are ready. They're waiting for you if you call them down. If you give the security override to just have a look in the turbo lift tubes, at the moment you can't see anything. But I will ask for Garrow and Hopkins to give me insight and security checks, please. Meanwhile, I'm also going to ask for Dr. Sot to give me insight and science.
can I put survival on this one, or...?
Yes! Yes, you can. A success from you, 2 successes from Dr. Sot. 2 successes from Garrow. Okay. I'll get to Dr. Sot first. Dr. Sot, looking through these rooms, it's the management consoles for tractor beam, for the forward tractor beam. And just being curious, Dr. Sot punches in commands just to show status of the forward tractor beam emitters. They've been deactivated. Meanwhile, Garrow and Hopkins, especially when they go into the Jeffries tubes, you think you can hear that telltale clank sound of somebody climbing the ladders in the Jeffries tubes. Some ways...
Is it directly?
Yeah, it's some ways above where you currently are. It's difficult to see that far up, but you can definitely hear the sound of someone using the Jeffries tube ladder.
Computer, is there anyone else in the Jeffries tubes besides us three?
Negative.
Alright, good. Hey, Garo. How good are you at your stun setting when you rifle?
Oh.
Did
I
you
think
bring the
it's on-
rifle? I'm not sure you had time to bring a rifle. Unless, of course, you've stopped off at one of the security checkpoints along the way and armed yourself with a phaser rifle.
Well, Garo
Uh,
already carries it.
2 and 3 phaser. I've still got them on my sheet, so
Okie
I just
dokie.
want to take this opportunity to point out that I'm a doctor, not a ghostbuster.
Ah, great.
I'm gonna see if I can get the internal sensors to listen for that clanking and see if they can determine that from just sound.
Ooh, very nice. I like that. Now, whilst Garrow is doing that, what are Sot and Hopkins doing? Are they staying behind to see what happens as a result of Garrow doing this? Are they helping Garrow do this, or are they going off to try and intercept the climber somewhere above them?
Well, seeing as Hopkins really doesn't feel like firing a phaser right now, she would probably climb.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for Hopkins to give me a fitness and security check to see how fast she can get up those ladders. Meanwhile, is Sot waiting around to see what Garrow does first?
I guess I'll go climbing as well.
Okay, so you can assist with fitness and security as well.
Can I use the determination of never back down?
If you really want to spend a determination for this, then absolutely yes, you can. Which is just as well you did. Woohoo! 4 successes. Nice, very nice. All right then. So the two of you basically rocket up those, and you get it back. Well done. The two of you basically rocket up those Jeffries tube ladders. Meanwhile, Garrow is trying to modify internal sensors. Can I get you to give me a reason and security check, please, with I will let you use shipboard tactical systems as your focus.
Okay.
Because you are trying to use these things as a security situation, so very nice. So you reconfigure the internal sensors in the Jeffries tube specifically to listen for sounds that depict somebody moving up the Jeffries tube, which even if you've got some means of cloaking yourself, you can't cloak physics, basically. So
I must ask for Hopkins and Dr. Stock to basically stay quiet whilst this is going on.
But initially the sensors do indicate that they detect movement on deck 15 to 14, which makes sense because you've got Sot and Hopkins blasting their way up the ladder, but you also get another indicator that there is somebody on deck. There's somebody in the Jeffries tube at deck 9 and still going up.
Okay. Computer, erect a force field around on the Jeffries tube between deck 8 and deck 9.
Compliance. All right. Security force fields are in place. Deck 8 and 9. Cool. And
Hopefully
Garrow
they'll
can,
slow.
slow him down.
Let's go and see what.
Garrow
see
can
what
now
we can,
race up the ladder to try and find, to link up with these guys. And as I've done before, I'm going to briefly move us back to the away team. So, with this in mind, you, with what's happened to you guys regarding the monolith in mind, can I get Gurkow and maybe Flask and Tavish as well if she fancies it, to give me a control and science check to analyze what their tricorders are detecting and extrapolate data from it. Anybody who has got anything to do with subspace, warp field dynamics, that kind of thing, or any quantum science related, or and yes, maybe even statistical science, can
Alright.
jump in on this to try and interpret the results that you are getting from your sense of feedback.
I'll just roll the 1 dice then.
Oh, meanwhile, whilst these
Parent
guys
figure.
are doing this, yeah, parent figure. Hang on a second. Tavish, whilst this is going on, whilst these guys are rolling. Parent figure, so you ignore the complication, 1 success, okay. Whilst this is going, Tavish is watching these guys work and consulting their tricorders as the devices are basically going nuts with the amount of data that they're collecting. All of a sudden, Tavish, looking out at the monolith, gets a sudden flash happen in her view, and she sees these arcing bands of energy coruscating off of not only this monolith, but all the monoliths, or more monoliths in the amongst the debris field, which link up to another one, which is propelling some kind of beam directly into the heart of the neutron star, and it looks like some kind of hole in space is opening, and just as it starts to, Tavish's vision flashes back to where she was moments ago, back here on the asteroid, with Gurkow and Flesk analyzing their data. As far as
is just going to
Go
go.
on, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No, go on.
I was going to say, Tavish is just going to say, turn this off now.
As soon as Tavish says that, Stoker holds her hand up and goes, "You will do no such thing. Anybody. These stay on. What's your conclusions, lieutenants?" And as far as your conclusions goes, hold on to that, Dave. Don't let go of it. Remember it. But let me just deal with what Flesk and Gurkow find. It's unclear how they're doing it, but there seems to be a residual power signature now emanating from those different spots that you came up with. So the different mineralogical spots that you detected, so the other 4 sites that you have yet to go to, they are now all registering power. Small amounts of power, but it's as if somehow this monolith were projecting power to the other ones. It's only small amounts of power, but nevertheless, powering up this monolith is somehow feeding little bits of energy to other places within this debris field. There's no direct physical link between these places that you can detect, so how they're doing this is, at the moment, unknown. So, what's your analysis, lieutenants? Is this one doing its thing, or do we need to look around for more?
Ma'am, we are messing around with technology we do not fully understand.
But this is what we are looking for, Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am. I'm saying, look, I'm all for taking risks, ma'am. But only when I am the one at risk. Messing with this technology, we are putting not just everybody here, not just this away crew, but I believe we're putting the Combs at risk too.
And I believe you're overreacting.
As long as the record, your report of this shows my
Very well, your objection is noted. It's also summarily ignored. Lieutenant Flesk and Gurkow, your opinion. Do we need to find more of these things and activate them in order to get this power flow going? Can you tell what it is this thing does yet?
Can't tell what it does. Now, without saying it's a good idea, that would probably help us understand what it does. But that doesn't make it a good idea.
And here I thought you were explorers. Fine. Your objections are also noted, and also summarily ignored. Very well.
Oh, there's definitely a look on Tavish. Like, she is not happy.
You also notice that Stoker has very much set her jaw as she's looking at the rest of you. All right then. If there's nothing else on this slab of rock, we may as well look for more of them. Let's get back on board the shuttle and seek out more of these places. Today, people.
Yes, Mom.
Shuffle on.
Oh no.
So, do you have any preference as to which way you'd like to go next? Are you going to... Sorry, go on, Dave.
I was going to say, if it's all right with Bark and Connie, let's go to the one on the left and just make it square.
Yep.
So you're actually still going to carry out with this, even though you have objections? You're not going to like mutiny and...
No.
All
Mutiny is probably the
last resort.
I do not. Yeah, it's the last resort.
No reprimand to us, please.
Yeah. I'm definitely not going to do something to these power sources. Definitely not. I am not going to put my own little program into these power sources without her noticing.
Oh, righty then. Do you want to try that now?
Yes, I would like to.
The first thing I'm going to get you to do then is to give me a control and security check to see how sneaky you are doing this. Now, the question remains, are Gurkow and Flesk going to help Tavish with this surreptitious bit of whatever? I hesitate to note that Gurkow does have stick it to the man as a value.
I mean...
Go on, Connie.
I think if Tavish is feeling a bit apprehensive about this, I, of course, will help. I'll have a backup plan, basically. And, I don't like what's the attitude of Stoker. But she doesn't have to know about anything.
Alright, so are you gonna maybe run interference to distract Stoker so that she can't see what Tavish is doing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's think. What's the best way of doing this? You just want to be distracting, so maybe presence and command just to give her enough jibber jabber to direct her attention elsewhere. And if you wanted to, you could use a point of determination to reflect your stick it to the man focus. Value, I should say.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. So this gives you the ability to help Tavish with that. So.
Before I go.
2 successes on that, and so let's also get Tavish to give me 1 dice control and security to see if you can build off of Gurkow's distraction.
I am gonna use a determination if that's okay.
Of course.
I am going to use Mad Engineer.
Mad Engineer. Interesting.
I don't know. I don't know which one's the best one.
Mad Engineer or Free Thinker, maybe.
Yeah, actually,
Because you
more I'm
don't
looking
like
at
the
it,
solid way that she's
Free,
shutting
yeah,
down
yeah.
any other option but hers.
Yeah, free thinker then. I'm gonna use.
Cool.
1 dice.
One dice, but with a determination.
And a
You don't really
focus
have
and
any.
power
You don't really have any focuses at the moment for being sneaky. So
Okay, all right.
this is how sneaky you're being. You've already got 2, thanks to Gurkow, and ooh, good lordy logs. Well, hello. If ever there was a sneaky sneak, Tavish has out-sneaked the sneaky sneak.
We're getting all the extremes today.
We are
That's
indeed.
another record. I think that's another record, and that, in a good way this time.
Actually, no. We have done double ones before, but it is a rare occurrence. We haven't done triple ones yet. So, a triple complication or a triple multi-success has the triple multi-success has yet to occur. The double multi-success has, but the triple complication is still something else. That's another record-breaking thing this group has done. Okay, cool. So you have effectively run very good interference, and as a result, Tavish is now looking to do something to do with a computer program.
Yes.
Anybody who wants to help on this is welcome to.
Parent figure.
Cool. What are you looking to do here then, Dave?
So,
Or Tavish, I should say.
yeah. Probably an emergency shutdown system.
So a remote control, shut it off, take off the power kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of take off the power. Yeah.
Okay, so that suggests... Well, it's definitely going to be an engineering jobby. But it does suggest control and engineering, and if you are doing remote... if it's a computer program, then your focus of computers will work. If Flask is assisting, it'll be the same thing, control and engineering, but... What can we use here for your focus? You're basically creating a comm system, so... Transporters and replicators will work.
Okay.
Projecting matter as energy
One.
across space, so... Similar kind of thing.
Cool.
1 dice for
Focus,
Flask,
rolling 1.
2 dice for Tavish.
I could steal a momentum because we got a full pool and we've just had some cracking rolls.
You could.
And roll 2 dice.
Okay.
Go on, Dave.
Yeah. No, that's it. So
okay.
yeah.
I'm going to use my Starcross
Oh.
talent.
Hey.
Well, medal.
Starcross will double your... so that means anything 10 or under is a success, and... Actually, no, it's more than that. It's 10, 22, so pretty much anything is a automatic success, but anything below 5 is a double success, so that's worth keeping an eye on. So, yeah, Flask and Tavish then. Let's create this remote energy shutdown. Okay, so no 5s, but certainly 2 successes. Oh no, wait, that was Flask.
Yeah.
So we'll consider that one success.
Use
Okay.
some momentum.
Oh yeah, he used momentum.
I am not. Yeah. I'm not using momentum here.
Okie doke.
So.
Ooh, there we go. There's a 4, which means that's double. So that's not 3 successes. That's 4. So that's 5 successes in total. So my God, that's a lot of momentum. You have now created a fairly foolproof means of shutting down power transfer from the power pack you made to that monolith, and potentially to any others that might be linked up in a similar fashion. So yes, you've done it. Now it remains to be seen whether or not you actually have to use it or not.
Yes.
And in that instance, you guys were looking to travel to the next one, which was all the way over there. Got a little bit less debris to climb through, so you should be able to make it no problem in that direction. So far, so weird. Having a bit of trouble trying to discern what Admiral Stoker's real goal is here, and whether or not you feel comfortable with activating these things, whatever they do, but for the moment, you're going along with orders. Meanwhile, having activated security force fields to stop whoever's moving up through the decks from getting any higher than Deck 8, what is on Deck 8? According to this, Deck 8 is Astrometrics, Chief Science Officer's Office, so Gurkha's office, Deuterium Processing, Port, starboard and forward docking ports, the ODN EPS main trunks, the lower cargo bays, deuterium tankage, upper premix chamber, aft work pod storage. So interesting stuff, but not essential, not essential systems unless you count deuterium processing. That's probably one of the more essential systems on this level. So, Hopkins, Garrow, and Sot emerge at the entrance to Deck 8. And if I can just find what I'm looking for. Cool. So, you've come out of the Jeffries tube on Deck 8. At the moment, there's no sign of anybody. But that doesn't necessarily mean there's nobody here. Can I get Garrow and Hopkins and Dr. Sot to give me insight and security checks? Somebody can be the main and others can be the assistants. However you want to do it. So Sot has already put himself down as an assistant.
Yeah, ain't no way I'm leading a security check.
So either Hopkins or... Sorry, Chris, what was that?
I'll lead this one.
You'll lead this
All
one.
right.
Okay, so Hopkins can give us 1 dice.
Should I put survival on this one again?
Yeah, go on. No focus exactly for Hopkins on this, so it's just going to be force of personality, insight, I should say. But nevertheless, okay, cool. Between the 3 of you, you think you can hear somebody using a data terminal in this room, because you can hear the beeps, boops, and whatevers.
Laser at the ready and open the door.
Okay, so as soon as you open the door, you are confronted with the back of somebody. Definitely humanoid, because they have 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head. The head, however, is hunched forwards over the console that they're rapidly trying to type commands into. But they are, as the image suggests, coated from head to foot in this grey, angular suit of some sort that completely obscures their features. As they hear the door open behind them, the figure turns sharply to show you the blank faceplate that they have obscuring their face. And as you level your weapons at them, they say,
"Well, about time you got here."
and that's where we're going to leave it for this week.
No!
Especially because anything more like any kind of conflict would take a degree of time, and we don't have that much time left in today's session, I am afraid. So that strikes me
Good point.
as a pretty good place to leave it on an action cliffhanger. So, yes, what's going on? What's up with Admiral Stoker? What's going to happen with these monoliths? Who is this mysterious intruder on the combs? Why are they here? All of these answers and more will hopefully be given same time next week, as long as everybody is here for next week. Is everybody here next week?
I should be, yes.
Yep. Yerp.
Yeah.
I believe
I don't
so.
think anything important going on next week.
Well, it's the 26th of November, if that helps any.
I'm being a smart aleck because I know it's
Okay.
the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, right, I see. No, so, since we don't have that over here, I don't know the date, so... You'd think my calendar would say that. Why doesn't it say that? It usually has American holidays on it.
Yeah, no, it's this Thursday.
Oh, there we are, day after Thanksgiving, so it's actually the 23rd. I see.
By the way, after next week, the following 2 weeks, I'm going to be away. Because one,
Same.
I'm going to be in Comic-Con in Birmingham, and then I'm on the holiday.
Did I hear that you're off as well, Mark? Did someone say same?
Yeah, 2nd and the 9th I'm also away.
Well, 2nd and 9th are both Saturdays. Does that mean you're going to be missing the following Sundays?
I'm an idiot and can't read a calendar. Only the 3rd am I away.
But I should be back for the 17th. I should be back on the 17th, though.
Alright, well, hopefully we can finish this one next week on the 26th. If that's the case, only one of you are going to be absent on the 10th, so we might give the 3rd a miss, and we might start the next one on the 10th, even as long as Chris is okay for us to start a new one without him.
Yep.
And you can-
Usual stuff, don't get me killed. Knocked out
Yeah.
is fine. Yeah.
You almost got yourself killed this time, so, you know.
It's fine if I do.
Yes.
It's fine if I get myself done it. Yeah.
There's no blame there except maybe Foundry Forge. So yes, okay. Tune in next week to see what happens. So yeah, unless there's anything you guys particularly want to state before we sign off.
Let's see how many reprimands Hopkins can accumulate.
Well, hopefully now any action you take can be seen as justified depending on the severity and lethality of what Hopkins does next. So we'll see
Oh, I
how
was
we
talking
do.
about when she finds out that the Admiral basically put the crew in danger without listening to their
right.
opinions.
Interesting. I look forward to that then. And I hope everybody who's been watching also looks forward to it. For those who have been watching, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we appeared to enjoy taking part in it. And tune in next week to find out the exciting conclusion. If we can conclude it next time, because it has been known that this one can take more than just 2 parts, so we'll see how we go. In the meantime, I will wish everybody who's watching to do like the Vulcans do and live long and prosper, but maybe not have mysterious intruders come aboard your ship, and maybe not encourage an admiral whose judgment may be questionable. And otherwise, you can definitely do what the Vulcans do, which is engage in infinite diversity in infinite combinations. The times we find ourselves in now are getting more and more crazy as they go, so everybody make sure you look after each other and yourselves. Be kind to one another, because who else is going to be? So we will, breaking a bit early, but that's because we're in a good spot to stop. So for those who tune in to the stream, we'll see you next time. For those who tune in on YouTube, if you enjoyed this, please give us a like, because it helps not only ourselves, but also everybody who does actual plays, and helps promote Star Trek as well, which is also very cool. Thank you very much, folks. We will see you when we see you next. Hailing frequencies are now closed.